Whenever you are.
All right, so let me get everything set up. I think we are live. Welcome to the NAIAFBALL Semifinal live show. Here tonight, we are really excited to talk some football. It's a really set of good games. Let's talk about our sponsor, our presenting sponsor real quick. It's Temple Sporting Goods powered by AgCraft. You want great gear for your team, whether that is your sports team or your business team. They do it all in terms of branded clothing, branded pens, branded. What am I talking about, John?
Branded.
There
you go.
Branded stuff. They are the guys to do it. TempleSports.com. Let's get to some games.
Let's talk about, guys. We were in the quarterfinals of the NAIA playoffs, round number 2. We are heading to semifinal action this week. We're going to start off with the defending champions who had a scare at halftime.
They did.
They were down 21-9, but ended up going 36-8 run in the second half. Morningside defeats the Baker Wildcats 45-29.
36 unanswered points that's a shock to the system. I mean, credit Coach Ryan and the coaches for making the necessary offensive adjustments there. You see it. Joe Dolanchek throws for almost 4 bills, 5 touchdowns. Austin Johnson with 153 yards catches 3 of those. Juergensmeyer goes for 183 in 1 of those.
We talked about if Juergensmeyer was going to have that breakout game last show.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you listened. He definitely did, almost putting up 2 bills there. I know he was running a player of the week, but the problem is the guy that threw it to him had some huge numbers. Baker came out with a great game plan, but just started faltering in that second half with interceptions, just mistakes. And, that defense of Baker just got figured out like a book in the second half.
And credit Morningside's defense. We've been knocking Morningside's defense. It feels like the entire playoffs, but they limited J.D. Woods to 45 yards on 20 carries, and that's for Baker. If you could stop Woods, you pretty much had them.
Let's just say the Wildcats made Morningside look vulnerable at times.
They did
at times. And first team to really do that
in a
long time.
Yeah. So let's talk about our the end of our picks.
Absolutely. So, all season long, me and the other expert right here have had Grandview number 1 in our poll. Grandview is definitely an elite team. If you make it in the final 8, you're elite. And you have a conversation of, are you the best? It just is what it is. But we were totally wrong, and Northwestern has, gotten this playoff monkey off their back. They are making a run, and for the past 2 years, we talked about if Northwestern loses in the regular season, can they catch Morningside in the playoffs? And it's hard to beat a team twice in the same year. Yes, I know Northwestern has this huge losing streak to Morningside, but a little different when it happens in the same season. So looking forward to seeing how that works, especially this spring season. Anything can happen. Northwestern capitalized on Grandview's mistakes. Both teams made mistakes. Plus, Northwestern just had the ball late.
I do want to talk about Shane Solberg, and we talked about if Grandview wanted to win, they needed to stop Solberg. Solberg was out there mossing over like 2 Grandview defenders at times.
He matched his rival Juergensmeyer, same total yards, same receiving yards.
Yep, that was fun to watch. Solberg was just very much a man among boys out there against a defense who was very, very good.
What about both teams not being able to run the ball?
I mean, we expected that.
We did. And just both teams had great front sevens. But is that an omen down the road maybe for Northwestern next week?
We'll have to see. I mean, Koyman does do a lot of the rushing, but he was held in check.
Yes.
Only 6 total or 6 net yards, 36 if you pull out the sacks, but But yeah, I mean, it definitely could be something that we watch for against Morningside this week. Lindsey Wilson actually plays
their first complete game
in a long while.
Time. They did not look sloppy at all.
They weren't sloppy. I mean, there were no turnovers for Lindsey Wilson. That's what has kept Concordia afloat.
And Concordia, their offense definitely punched above their weight besides the turnovers they had.
Mm-hmm.
They gave themselves a chance, just a Lindsey Wilson juggernaut offense. You know, we said if Concordia can score 20-plus points, they could beat anyone. Big surprise that Lindsey Wilson was able to hit almost a 50-burger.
Yeah, very much was. Now I have a bone to pick with you before we move on to the last game. I should have gotten the clip here and played it back for you. You said something to the tune of, and I quote, "Blowouts don't happen in the quarterfinals."
I mean, it's true. Look at everything else. We had competitive games for the most part.
We got Lindsey Wilson whipping Concordia, and then we had what was kind of a surprise to me. Kaiser came out again hot and just takes Reinhardt behind the woodshed.
We knew that Billy Hall, the Reinhardt quarterback, who's had a fantastic season, great player, he was going to take the Eagles as far as they could get. You know, when you get deeper in the playoffs, being one-dimensional doesn't help. And Billy Hall's been absolutely efficient. I believe he threw only 2 interceptions before this game. And it brings his total to 5 by having 3 interceptions.
Yeah, definitely was. The Kaiser run defense was absolutely incredible. Reinhardt tried to run the ball 37 times for 138 yards.
Right.
But for someone who's trying to grind out 300-400 yards on the ground, that's what you want.
Right. And heads out to Eli Matthews getting the ball out in the perimeter and letting his guys make plays.
Absolutely. That's the whole Kaiser offense. Get the ball out to your guys and run the ball between the tackles. So, it is time for our first down play of the week. Just a great partner that we've had this year as we've partnered with them for our spring season. They've done a great job illustrating the plays, making it accessible. We are so thankful to Charlie Coyner and his team over there. Over 35,000 plays, whether that be 7-on-7, whether that be flag football.
He's brought a new dynamic to us for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's been a big part of the show, even though he has not been on it.
Yep, absolutely. Let's take a look at it. It is going to be the Juergensmeyer touchdown catch against Baker. Just a beautifully designed play by the offensive staff at Morningside. Juergensmeyer runs this slant directly to where the middle linebacker is dropping. Slants from the strong side, or post routes from the strong side by number 10, Zach Norton, and number 34, Sione Tuifua, pull the safety and the corner up the field.
Right, and by the time that corner can't retrace back, heck of a job by the Morningside offensive line because this route takes time.
It does.
He's basically going from one hash all the way to the other side of the field to the numbers.
And you'll watch. You'll see Sims calling for the ball here, and Dolanchek has his eyes downfield the entire time, just waiting for it to develop. He knows those hosses in front of him have the time and have the ability to do it. So let's take a listen to the call.
Here we go. Morningside first and 10 of the 32. Dolanchek 5-step drop out of the gun. Fires over the left seam. Juergensmeyer wide open. 45-40 into Baker territory. Breaks the tackle. 30. Down the left sideline 20. And he scampers in for another Mustang touchdown from 68 yards out.
Cool thing about that play, Corey, is that was the icing on the cake. You knew the game was over at that point.
That was the final nail in the coffin. Thank you to Morningside Athletics for the video. Just absolutely beautiful drawn-up play. Those are the ones that are going to make it on our show every week, are the ones that are well drawn up, well executed. The the feats of athleticism are nice, but at the end of the
Right.
day, I love to
Just
see
seeing something just fundamentally drawn out and, perfecting it.
That's what's going to make it at the end of the day for us. Let's talk about our friends at 417 Helmets.
Guys, 417's done an amazing job. I have 2 helmets of theirs that they did in our house, a CFB home one and a NAIFBALL one. Corey, I think you have a miniature U-Pike one. So if we have these guys in our house, and I even paid for one.
Yeah.
That's how much I believe in this guy and just the product that he has out. He can do anything, any kind of helmet, college, pro, high school. Just hit him up in his DMs. Great guy.
So let's talk about our honorees this week. Joe Dolanchek out of Morningside. I mean, 5 touchdowns and almost 4 bills passing.
Joe Dolanchek is kind of like, Cameron Dukes and Lindsey Wilson. It feels like you can go back and forth, really, if you wanted to give these guys player of the week each week. Just amazing just stats he's putting up. And I think you haven't seen his best yet. I think his best might be coming this week.
I think you're right. It feels like he... You know how Deion Sanders always said that he was only as fast as he had to be?
That's right.
I think the Dolanchek, I think they're taking off the gas at some points. We saw it in last year's national championship game where they had to keep fighting.
Right.
And we saw a really good Joe Dolanchek. I think you will see that this week. I think you're right. Defensively, we've got Baker Sam Squarlow. 13 tackles, 2 for loss, and the only pick of Joe Dolanchek.
Right. Gave him his only asterisk, and he played well. Great individual performance.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the matchups. We're going to do a deep dive on each side of the ball.
Do it.
So let's take a look at the Morningside offense. They've got the number 2 total offense, number 1 pass offense, and number 18 rush offense here. You've got Anthony Sims, who has 748 yards and 14 touchdowns.
Pretty good spring season.
Yeah. Jurgensmeyer with 1,340 yards and 20 touchdowns.
Very great spring season.
Fall season for both of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Dolanchek has really just increased his completion percentage in the playoffs. They're going to match up against Northwestern's number 32 total defense, number 23 in both pass and rush defense. They've got some guys that are good, though. Parker Fryer with 84 tackles, 9 for loss. Noah Vantoff, 91 tackles, 4 picks. And TJ Jones with 8 tackles for loss and 2 sacks. It's a really, really good offense from Morningside. This is really the question. Can Northwestern's D stop the Morningside offense? Or at least slow it down?
Let's just be honest here. The only way Northwestern wins, they got close. They're getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you something, Corey. The University of Kentucky has beat the University of Florida twice in 40 years. Who are you picking to win that game in 2021?
Oh, Florida, no doubt.
Okay. So Morningside has a heck of a winning streak against Northwestern. It's kind of hard just due to history, even though each game is different. Last season's game in the fall has nothing to do with this playoff game. But just that history mindset, will that play a factor with Northwestern? I'm sure this is the biggest monkey any team has in this playoffs. And for them to win, their defense is going to have to slow down Morningside. They're not going to stop.
No.
Tyson Koima has to play the game of his life.
Let's take a look at how he matches up against the Morningside D. Morningside has the number 36 total offense, but they have the number 85 pass defense.
Right.
And the number 7 rush defense. That's what keeps them in the games.
And Baker showed they were vulnerable last week.
Yep.
Can that film help?
We'll see. Tyson Koima has just been incredible. He's helped out Northwestern in the rushing game, where they are mainly a passing team. Solberg and Moser have 2,000 receiving yards between just those two.
If Koima wins this game, Northwestern wins this game, Koima's your NAIA Player of the Year.
I absolutely 100% agree.
As much as I love Cameron Dukes, beating the 2-time national champions will put you over. I think if they lose, Cameron Dukes is your Player of the Year over Dolanchek.
You'll have to see how they play against Kaiser. I think this is the audition for both of them.
Yeah.
You brought up the game in 2020, the fall game. Let's take a look at how that went. Morningside won by 14 points, but all 14 of those points that proved to be the deficit occurred in the fourth quarter.
Right, which is when Morningside usually grinds out Northwestern.
Koima had 2 interceptions, and they both and it felt like they were both late. I know one of Northwestern's last possessions ended in a pick, and one of their last possessions ended in a fumble. You have got to be more efficient than that to be Morningside.
What has to happen here for Northwestern, they cannot go punch for punch with Morningside. Here, not only does Koima have to play his best game, Morningside's offense has to be off a little bit.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. I mean, they've got to. Northwestern's got to force them into a couple of turnovers, and make them play a game that they don't want to play. We know how Morningside reacts after halftime being down. They're a good, well-coached team. We know that. I mean, look at the route that Juergensmeyer ran. It was perfect. The blocking was perfect. The throw was exactly when and where it needed to be. This is a well-coached team. This is why they're back-to-back national champions.
Right, that program deals with adversity so well. No matter what new face they put up there. It's just in the program's blood at this point.
Yeah, we've watched it the last couple years in the national champion live. In both of those games, Morningside was in a dogfight at the end.
Right.
And they had the composure to win it. So who are you taking?
I'm going with Morningside. Similar to last game, I think they grind Northwestern out late in the fourth quarter. Don't be surprised if Northwestern gets a 2-possession lead.
Yeah.
But I think Morningside's just built on finishers. Northwestern's an elite team. They've showed it. They deserve all the credit. But Morningside it's just in their program DNA at this point. I think that's going to be the only separation. Talent's there both ways. Okay, I'll take it back. The Morningside offensive line, too, I'm going to get behind. They are amazing.
They are big, they are physical, and they will put a defensive line on their butt quick. It is so hard to beat a team twice in the span of a season.
Right.
It is really, really difficult. But if I'm going to pick a team to do it, it's going to be Morningside. If anybody is going to be able to do it, it's going to be Morningside. I'm going to take Morningside, and this is going to be an ESPN Classic game.
I can see it ending up that way. I just think Morningside gets the cushion near the end of the game.
All right. So let's go to our other semifinal here. How does the Lindsey Wilson offense match up against the Kaiser defense? Lindsey comes in with the number 11 total offense, the worst offense remaining in these playoffs.
Which is insane.
That is absurd.
And especially how they ended, the last couple playoff games. But anyways, I think this matchup really favors Kaiser. I think the secondary in Kaiser is the best in the nation.
It is really good.
I know they're number 3 in pass defense, but just looking at the athletes they have out there, and you got to think, what helps Kaiser is not only did they get this playoff run, but their kids have saw like a team like Southeastern, who is a really good offensive team. They struggle other places, but they really good offensive team. And then, they just had the playoff run. They're coming off from a physical game against Reinhardt to probably a game they're more comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You hear us talk about it a lot, especially for where flag is concerned. We talk about the South Florida speed. And I watched as time and again, that Kaiser defense pushed Reinhardt's running plays out to the sidelines and filled into the sidelines and played really good team defense. Let's be honest. If Lindsey Wilson comes out flat and gives Kaiser an opportunity to do what they want to do, this may not be a game.
I think the Lindsey Wilson offensive line and then Jalen Boyd and their running back by committee after him really needs to have a great game. I think that just the secondary of Kaiser is really going to frustrate Lindsey Wilson. Really, really eager to see what happens there. Cameron Dukes is going to have to use his legs more.
Absolutely.
I just don't think it's going to be pitch and catch like it was last week.
No, it's the windows are going to be tighter. Dukes is going to have to play a masterful game. Like you said, if they win against Kaiser,
and then if Morningside does their part, Dukes is player of the year.
Dukes is yes,
he should be. Dukes should be player of the year
because he will have had to have been masterful against Kaiser in order to win that game. Now let's look at Kaiser's offense versus the Lindsey Wilson defense.
Here's what really favors Kaiser. They are fast. Lindsey Wilson has seen fast tempo this year, but
this fast?
Well, yeah, who knows? Let's just say the head coach Oliver is very familiar with up-tempo offenses.
Definitely is. I mean, but you've got this is good on good right here.
Right.
Lindsey.
This is where Coach Sosha makes his name, though, from when he was at
Oxbridge
and by the American Heritage.
American Heritage, yeah.
You know, he makes his name on this, getting guys out in space and using those athletes. I think the big thing here is, can the Kaiser offensive line handle where the pressure is going to come through with the Lindsey Wilson 3-3 stack and 3-4 defense?
Yeah, I mean, and Matthews is going to have to be good. He's going to have to be a little more than a game manager here because the Lindsey Wilson pass defense does tend to struggle at times.
Right, and that's the beauty of Kaiser. I think they're going to get it out in space. This is going to be this is the game I'm, as much as everybody's looking forward to Northwestern Morningside rivalry continuing into semifinals, I'm more excited about this game.
Now let's talk about something for a minute that we did not mention over here when we talked about the Lindsey Wilson offense versus the Kaiser defense. We've got a little bit of coach familiarity here.
Yeah.
We have Coach Oliver.
One of his previous staff members, who was at Marion, made the national championship last year. Was a big part of that defensive side over there. Coach
He's
Riddies.
the defensive coordinator over there.
Yeah, defense coordinator. So, this has got to be fun. Those guys are good dudes. So I know in competitors, somebody's going to be heartbroken going away from it. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
So in a matchup like this, when you're going against that with a defensive coordinator who knows how the opposing offense likes to call the game, knows some of his kind of go-to back pocket calls,
right,
versus a coach who knows how that D likes to play and knows where he likes to bring pressure from, knows if he's going to get someone who's going to be blitz happy. Who has the advantage here?
Well, think about it like this. I'm not saying Coach Oliver is Nick Saban, but think about Nick Saban, his record against assistant coaches. There's a reason why the head coach hires those assistant coaches. And I guarantee you, when they're there, when your job's on the line, you know everything about those guys. And while those guys are still learning, they don't have the overall shift of everything, even though they probably think they do. But there's probably going to be some things, tags put up, whatever, that create some unfamiliarity. So I don't really think it's going to be that big of a deal.
I've been going back and forth on this game all week, to be honest with you.
Right.
I'm still having issues picking a winner. I can see both teams easily winning this game.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
It sounds like you're picking Kaiser.
Yeah, if I'm picking with my head, I'm definitely going with Kaiser. And I think I'm going to hurt some feelings here. And nothing, not against Lindsey Wilson, but Kaiser is what people thought Southeastern was supposed to be, what Faulkner was supposed to be. The team from the South that just had just the Southern speed, and Kaiser is finally getting it there. I think that you see a young program in the national championship game.
For the sake of argument, I'm going to go with Lindsey Wilson. I think Now you're talking about a semifinal.
All right.
I think at this point, with the young program, at this point where we're talking about, we're trying to parse between such fine points. I think, like we talked about Morningside, being there and knowing how to react. Lindsey Wilson's been around. They know how to run a program. Coach Oliver's not going to get shook.
Absolutely.
Those coaches, that coaching staff isn't going to get shook. They've been there. Not saying that Kaiser's coaches are going to get shook, but it's a big stage. Give me Lindsey Wilson and the home crowd, as small as it may be there in Columbia. Give me that home cooking, home field advantage. And I'm going to take Lindsey, but this is going to be. I hate that it's a pay stream.
I do too, but
because it's going to be wild. So guys, you can, however, if you have the ESPN app, our friend Chris Coquel is doing the calls for Kaiser.
Oh, cool.
So I assume that he will more than likely be calling. He may be calling this game. So ESPN West Palm Beach 106.3. If you go to the ESPN app, it'll be on there. I'll let you know if that's not the case. But I'm looking forward to listening to this game, to keeping up with it.
I think if Kaiser, and this is just long term, if Kaiser wins the national championship this year, I think you're going to see a similarity of a West Florida Division II in the NAIA. Because I don't think Kaiser plans to ever really move up too soon. I think they could. They have the money. Mm-hmm. It charges arm and leg to go there. But I think you're going to see a big boom of athletes heading down to West Palm Beach from all different levels. So just seeing far out, not calling they're winning the national championship. But I really think that Kaiser and Lindsey Wilson, out of the two, is the game of the week.
They're both good.
Are you going to be shocked if Morningside beats Northwestern, even though it could happen?
No.
Most definitely could.
No,
okay.
But am I going to be shocked if Northwestern beats Morningside? Also, probably no.
No. But what I'm saying is, I'm probably going to be shocked whatever outcome comes out of Lindsey and Kaiser.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be. What comes out of that game is going to inform my national championship.
Yeah.
And I was looking at last year when we had Lindsey, Marion, Grandview, and Morningside. A couple of years ago we had St. Francis and Morningside, basically on the one side, and then Benedictine and whoever they played. I don't even remember at this point.
All right.
I got to say, if you were to say that either of these two matchups that we have right now was to be the national championship game, Morningside Northwestern or Lindsey Kaiser, I'm sitting there going, well, that doesn't suck.
No, not at all.
So we've got two really good matchups.
And Lindsey Wilson hasn't really faced much adversity this year at all. Every game they've won has been by a 3-possession margin, while Kaiser's been in a close game with Southeastern. If Kaiser wins this game, think about Southeastern at home that kind of pulled away from the playoffs. And probably weren't going to get in anyways. Like, they lost a 3-point game. If they make it to the national championship, you really got to start taking that Sun Division more serious, at least with the top two teams.
At this point, you've got to start taking it more seriously anyway. You've got a semifinal team that's shown that they are really good.
Right.
And Kaiser did play some close games, even like Ave Maria.
That was 28-7, though. So they're just like Lindsey, where they beat everybody 3 possessions or more except Southeastern. But, the Ave Maria game, they slowed them down a little bit, 28-7.
Yeah. And in a lot of Lindsey's games, yes, it ends up being lopsided, but that first half is...
Yeah, Lindsey cannot come sloppy against Kaiser. They got to play how they played against Concordia.
You got to come out. You
should be playing your best ball at this point anyways.
Oh, absolutely. Look.
Yeah, if they come out sloppy against Kaiser, I think it's a blowout for Kaiser.
It's game over.
I think it's going to be a close game.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so looking forward to this. And, next week we get to not only look at a national championship game matchup, but we've got, I don't think we've talked about Flag in a while. Let's talk about Flag. Flag's playing the daggum Mercedes-Benz Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta.
How in the world are journalists that, and I'm not trying to say anything bad, but in a way I am. Like the ones that, are just like the fighters for the WNBA, for softball and stuff. You got something historic going on that's not getting any coverage. Getting to partner with the NFL, play in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and we're the only two talking about it.
It's really good. I'm looking forward to it. If you live in the Atlanta area, admission is free. So that's the first week of May. That's next week, guys. It's going to be really, really fun. I don't even know. Let me look and see. This is you know how you get like free baseball when you go in extra innings?
Right,
This is free. This is free live stream. This is free live stream here. Let's look and see if they've got a Lord help us. They don't even have a dadgum.
If they do, we'll have the tweet out.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, because let me see if I can find a schedule. This is you want to know why no one's talking about this? This is why. It's
in the morning. Yeah, it's all day.
Let me see if I can find it. Dadgummit, that just parks back. I have no words. I have no words.
We'll get more information on that, guys. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed your time with us tonight, and we will be seeing you soon. Watch out for the Twitter messages, everything. I know I have a guy last week that got a sticker. I'm sending it out tomorrow. I did not forget about you.
We've got spaces now, so we can talk about games right afterwards.
Yep.
That was real fun. We tried it out. I got booted out in the middle of an interview with Coach Foos, but
that sucks.
I know, right? But we'll talk about this, and we'll do impromptu interviews. We'll have fun. We'll see what happens.
All right, guys. Y'all enjoy. Take care.